So I'm going to start with something that happened in New York State the beginning of this year. February 15th, the New York State Attorney General went into your Walmarts, went into your Targets, to your Walgreens, to your GNCs, to your Costco's in New York, and they pulled 800 different supplements off the shelf. And they took it for independent testing. And this really created an uproar in the industry because what happened is over 80% of the companies pulled off the shelf were the FDA took official action against. So what does that mean? That means they received letters saying that their product did not test out to be what it said to be on the label. There were products that were selling CoQ10 that didn't even have CoQ10 in them. Products that said they had 50 milligrams of grapeseed and there was less than 2. And I really want you to understand the gravity of this. 80% of the products pulled off the shelf by the New York Attorney General received official action letters from the FDA requiring changes either on labels or products. Now, this, like I said, sent an uproar into the supplement industry. Why? Because it really gives the supplement industry a bad name. Yet when I got the news from Tom Jackson, who works with us in our corporate office, I was happy. I was celebrating, did a little dance. Why? Because I've been telling people for years, sure, you can go to Costco and you can buy supplements, but I wouldn't even give them to my dog. You know, I'll never forget Steve Schwartz. He's one of our leaders, and he had a bunch of products. And I went to his house, and I looked at them all, and I said, wow, I would throw these away. And he said, this is thousands of dollars worth of products. And I said, yeah, I'm really sorry you wasted your money, but we could try it as fertilizer in your plants. You know, and we literally dumped them out together. And what the New York State General did confirmed what I've been saying for years. Every industry has its bad guys. The banking industry has its bad guys. The professional athletic world has the ones that dope, the ones that cheat. Every industry, and the supplement industry has gotten a very bad name because so often supplements set out on the shelves of very trusted retailers like Target, Walmart, Costco do not meet label claim. And because there's no governing agency out there watching them, it took the Attorney State General in New York to take action, and none of the other states have even followed through with that to prove that, yes, you may be able to go buy a fish oil for $15 less, but really doesn't even have fish oil in there. Or you can go buy a grapeseed extract for $5 less, but you're only getting 2 milligrams. It's not going to do anything for you. And there's millions of people today who are out there spending their money on products in stores on brands that they trust, and they're wasting all their money. Now, why do I tell you this story? Because at Ariix, our products cost more than a lot of these retailers. They just do. Why? We're an OTC facility. A lot of you already know this, but for the people who are new in the room, what an OTC facility means that my facility where we make the Nutrify products, we can make Tylenol, we can make Excedrin, we could make Aleve, we could make any of those over-the-counter drugs that are sold at your drugstores. So what does that mean for us as a supplement? Why should you even care? Because in order to make those types of over-the-counter drugs, we have a special licensing, which is called an OTC license. And that follows very strict protocol, where if I was a normal supplement manufacturer, I would order in raw materials from all over the world. I'd get them in, I would make the product, and I would sell it to you. The way in which it works at our facility, and the reasons why our products cost a little bit more, but at least people are getting what they are paying for, and they're getting efficacious doses, is because we get a raw material in. And that raw material comes with a document. And the document lists all the testing information on that document. And then what happens is we then need to test it ourselves to verify that what the farmer is saying is accurate. Then we make the product. But then we have another step, a very costly step, which requires us to test all our batches to make sure, randomly test every single batch to make sure that we're meeting label claim. And we don't just meet label claim, we have to meet label claim till our expiration date. So when you see the expiration date on the bottom of the bottle, you can be 100% for sure that our products have tested exactly to label claim to that date. And then after that date, just like all foods, they start to deteriorate a little bit. They lose their potency. So you know, when the New York State General, when this happened, I was thrilled because I spend money to send my products out to third-party organizations who verify that what we're saying is true. Why is that important for you? Because people work hard for their money, and when they spend their money, they should be getting what they pay for. Also, something that makes us very different than many other companies out there is that a lot of companies will find a great ingredient. I mean, I have ingredients that are so expensive. They literally cost more per ounce than gold. No joke. And so we've had to sign special waivers with our manufacturers because they're so nervous to work with these ingredients. And I swear I give Jeff Yates a minor heart attack every time we order them. But nonetheless, they're very expensive. But why are they expensive? They're expensive because the data proves they work. But here's the key. So like I use Maitake Gold 404. We use it on our MOA, right? That mushroom is the most expensive ingredient in all of our X products. And it's aging Jeff when he writes the checks. But here's the thing. Some companies will get that mushroom and just fairy dust a little bit in their products so they can talk about it. We actually use it as a clinical dose. Our bergamot, for example, in MOA, I just happen to be on MOA right now. Our bergamot that comes from Greece, this company is so awesome. They've done so much research to verify their ingredient and how it works on cholesterol lowering in the body and the method of action that they won't even sell you that bergamot unless you sign a contract saying that you will utilize it at the efficacious dose. And the efficacious dose means the dose that they utilized in the research. So when I found this company and I read their research and realized that they were so proud of the products, they get results. And when people get results, they're customers for life. That's the difference. And you have this promise from us. We don't just pick a number out of our head when we come out of a milligram in a product. It's not just a guessing game. It's all based on efficacious dosing, which means it will have an impact on the body, and it's been proven to do so. So just kind of a little history about the way we do things. And let me tell you a little about our team. I mean, honestly, 2 months ago, 4 years and 2 months ago, you know, I joined this team not quite knowing what I was getting into, I could tell you. And it's been the best thing ever. But our experts, or who I want to talk about for just a moment, there's lots of people who want to work with us. There's lots of people who'd like to serve on our scientific advisory board and be hands-on in the formulation process. And formulators, quite honestly, are easy to find and inexpensive to hire. But not only do we go after a certain type of manufacturing, a certain type of raw ingredient, and make sure that we dose it an efficacious dose, we go after a certain type of partner when it comes to our experts. We go after experts who have a level of dedication that is unmatched. What do I mean by that? There's somebody who just decided to go to school to be a chemist just because they kind of enjoy it. And that's the extent of the reason why they're in their job. That's not the person we're looking for. We're looking for the Dr. Ray Strand, whose wife had a remarkable healing due to beneficial supplementation, and who changed his entire practice and dedicated his life to it and wrote books about it. We're looking for the Ashley Gasses who were sick and unhealthy and who turned their life around, who have a level of integrity now that's unmatched. We're looking for the Dr. Pentangas who are at the top of their field, running the national organization in the alternative sector. We're looking for those type of people who have had experiences in their life that has shaped them as human beings and set their moral foundation when it comes to raw materials and product development. Because I'll tell you, just like everything, it's a dirty business. And sometimes people lie, they sneak ingredients in the products, they take shortcuts. And so we find these people that are, there's no other way to say it, that are a little hardcore. And that's what gives us the confidence in knowing like our team is fabulous. And for those of you who don't know me, who've never met me, you know, I have a kind of a nickname amongst our manufacturers and providers as difficult. And I've been known more than once as some of our people to say, you're the most difficult person we've ever worked with. And I always take that as a compliment. I think, well, that's fabulous. That means we're doing something different. My husband, my kids might not think that's so fabulous. My partners might waver at that thought every once in a while. But I will tell you, I haven't had a manufacturer who has said that I'm easy. And it's always these types of comments. Well, we're not going to do it like that. Let's do it another way. And they say, well, there is no other way. And well, then I'll find someone else. Because there's other ways to do things. And because of that, we've been very innovative. Finding a supplement manufacturer that uses capsules, that doesn't use chemical flow agents in the process, good luck. I was told by 5 different chemical engineers that we would not be able to manufacture our products without chemical flow agents, because that's what everybody in the capsule industry does. And I looked at all these guys around the table and I said, no, we're not going to do it. So you better find a way. And they said, well, it can't be done. And I used my standard answer. Better not say can't, because if I go find someone else who can do it, you're going to lose all my business. And 5 days later, they came up with an answer. They still cuss me a little bit on the manufacturing floor because I've made it harder on them. But I don't care about making it harder on the people that we pay to make the products. I care about making sure that the products we put out there are the best, the cleanest possible, and that all the ingredients are efficacious. Another thing about the supplementation industry is in the manufacturing process, whether you're taking a tablet or a capsule, a lot of non-nutritive ingredients are used in the industry. Non-nutritive ingredients means chemicals that are needed within the manufacturing process. And I just don't believe in the philosophy, neither do any of our experts, of a little bit of bad and a lot of good is something you should be spending your money on. So we have gone above, way above, to make sure that every ingredient is a nutritive ingredient. And sometimes when people look at our capsules, they're like, why does Vanali not have a marking on it? But vitamins does. And wait, minerals doesn't. It's simple. We're difficult. And we were unwilling to use artificial colors on the outside of those caps. And all the natural food-based colors so far that we've tested fade really fast. So we had a green from Corella that wouldn't fade. We were good to go. And until we figured out how to make a natural blueberry, they're trying from a cabbage right now. And until they figure out how to make these natural colors that don't fade, those capsules won't have marks on it. So we'd rather be inconsistent in some of our design than give you a non-nutritive ingredient, just kind of as a little bit of a background. All right, so how else do we choose our raw ingredients? I tell you, raw ingredients choices, for me, it's like, I don't know if you like to go shopping, like who out in the audience likes to shop, but I like to shop. But you know what's really fun is to go out there into the world and find the farmer that has had this lavender farm for decades and 4 generations of their families, and just prides themselves on growing this most beautiful lavender. And I'm not exaggerating or trying to be cliche when I tell you that these lavender farms with farmers that have like hunchbacked and they're carrying the lavenders on their back, and it's just it's the farm we use to buy our lavender for Prime. And when we find these farmers who love their job, who are passionate about what they do, who put a lot of energy into the ground and the work and make sure they use no chemicals, those are the people we look for. And some of our chemical engineers have gone and sat with the actual shamans where we get our herbs from Central America. And it's such a remarkable process. Or our fish oil. You know, we searched the world for fish oil. And when I first came on board, I said, no, we're not going to have a fish oil. Because as I've said, and I said earlier, heck, I wouldn't give the fish oil at Costco to my dog. And I'm not joking. Because what happens is this is how fish oil is made, and people don't understand it, is they gather all this fish, and the fish goes to this big press. It's really quite disgusting. And they push this press, and then the oil comes down. But what happens is you've created these vats of oil that are very high in heavy metals and PCPs, which are chemicals from plastics. So our government, the Canadian government, the European government has set standards for fish oil that don't allow very high levels of these chemicals in there, because that would be super dangerous for you. And so this is what the fish oil industry does. They do this press, then it goes into these big vats. And these vats are like big cauldrons that are heated, super heated. And then what is added into these cauldrons is a chemical called hexene. Hexene is a petroleum-based chemical that binds with heavy metals, so it acts as a magnet. So they add these petroleum-based chemicals into the fish oil. They superheat the fish oil. The hexene grabs onto the oils. They become one, and then the hexene turns into a gas in a big vacuum over the fish oil, sucking out the chemicals and the hexene out of the fish oil. Standard, almost 98% of all fish oil companies do this. The two problems associated with that manufacturing process. One, hexene chemical remains in the fish oil. It's allowed, it's legal. Two, you've boiled the crap out of that oil, destroying really fabulous enzymes and nutrients that make that fish oil so beneficial. We found a company in Canada, a family-owned business, who uses the bio waste of the fish to run their plant, has won awards from all over the Canadian government, who gets small fish, anchovies, and sardines from the Peruvian coast, very regulated fishery, very clean waters, that figured out another way to process fish oil. And they're the only ones in the world doing it. It's a patented enzyme protection process, which means they do a press of already low contaminated fish. And then what they do is it's a fermentation process with enzymes, and it's a sweeper that goes through the oil, and the enzymes attached to any heavy metals. And our fish oil beats European standards, Canadian standards, and American standards for non-detectable lead, mercury, and PCPs. That's, folks, how we choose our raw materials. And lots of people won't even tell you who these companies are. So often, the trade names of ingredients are kept secret. Call our competitors. Call up an Herbalife. Call up a USANA. Call up any of them and say, where do you get your raw materials from? And good luck getting an answer. If you get an answer, call me. And I'll send you a free gift, because you've gotten something that nobody else is able to get. Because what those companies say is, oh, that's proprietary information. It was a really big culture shock for my business partners who all came from USANA when I came along, not in the corporate world, not in the network marketing world. And people would say, where do you get your fish oil from? I'm like, oh, we get it from, in Nova Scotia. There's a really great fish oil company owned by, Frank and Martha and her children. And here's their website. And my partner's like, what are you doing? And I said, if we're going to spend all this money on these raw materials, We need people to know where it comes from. We need to know that our mushroom, maitake, is called Maitake Gold 404, and it's the trade name, and you can look it up on the internet. You need to know that our grape seed comes from Indina. You need to know these things, because if you want to know them, you can do the research and find that they are premium. They are the Neiman Marcus of the supplement world. And I say, yeah, people copy us, let them. There is beauty in imitation, right? You're doing something correct. And so I changed kind of the corporate paradigm a little bit and being transparent, because I think it's critical that people can get answers. You're putting something into your body. You're trusting me. You're trusting our team. You're putting a highly potent ingredient in your body for a medicinal purpose. Therefore, you should know where it comes from. And that is another big difference between us and retail competitors and competitors within our industry. It just doesn't happen.